What? What? Hey, welcome to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. Holy cow, my voice is cracking like I'm in third grade. Anyway, welcome to the show. We got a special show today. My guest is none other than Mr. Fred Edwards Jr. Oh my goodness. For those of you who don't know him, he is the founder of Fred's Dissonance. And that is an organization that, forget that. He's been here before, Fred. Just lead off with what Fred's Dissonance is and how you guys impact the community.
Absolutely. Well, I always start out with, I got hit by a drunk driver when I was 18 years old. I was going to NDSU, North Dakota State University. And when I got back, there weren't a whole lot of sober spaces and places. And so Fred's Dissonance, it's sober fun, cultural exchange. It's where you learn about different people groups, you learn about different people, and you just learn as a community, as a Fargo-Moorhead community.
That's fantastic. So along those lines, there are other things that go along with Fred's Dissonance. For instance, Umoja.
Yes, so our nonprofit is Umoja Inc., and so we have these different programs that are hosted under that large nonprofit. But yes, we are doing some really cool things, cultivating in about 3 different districts right now, the Moorhead, West Fargo, and Fargo district. We just graduated 75 graduates. 42 of those had GPAs of 3.5 or higher. 60 of the 72 who graduated will be going on to college or trade school. We had one kid in Job Corps, but we won't talk about that.
We won't talk about that. Well, I'll tell you one of the things I do want to talk about. So the past couple of weeks, I've been railing on the radio about how I think this is the great awakening for citizens of the United States. And we see what's happening in not just the United States, around the world, okay? And last show, I talked a lot about the United States of Africa and all the great things that are happening where African states are throwing off the yoke of colonialism in a big way, starting with Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore. And letting people know that a year ago, I talked about this because, so I do a lot of research because I hate to be wrong, you know that. And so last year, this thing that Africa needs to be united started in a big way. Okay, and I said it on the radio, and that's funny because I got some people calling in saying, not calling in, but they made it perfectly clear that Africa could never unite, that they could never become united enough because they're all different countries, they're warring factions, and they likened it to the Middle East, but here's the difference. In the Middle East, there has been jihad, there has been war for 3,000 years, okay?
John, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What if Fargo or like North Dakota was its own country? I feel like I think that we could sustain.
Let's not even, hey.
I'm just saying, like country-wise, if North Dakota was its own country, like we got our own bank, we got, if the weather ever gets bad, the only thing we got to worry about is floods. But I just came back from Nashville, and every time I go there, there's a thunderstorm or tornado, and 15 different people from all over the world just moved there. And so for me, when you ask that question, I just wonder, what if we just separated? What if it's just us? North Dakota gang.
Then the other states would raid us for all of our goods and services.
You think so?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, listen, do we have as many guns as Texas? Do we have as many citizens as Texas?
Can I answer that?
Sure.
We have something that could do better. I think we have a nuclear weapon here, if I'm not mistaken.
So mutually assured destruction.
I'm just saying. I think we have firepower. You said we would get raided.
We're not gonna put a nuke in, and so
I don't think we should. I'm just saying. What if we were our own country?
Because it's not going to happen. Because if somebody threatens me, right? Like say you were to threaten me right now.
Right.
Okay, I got to laugh it off because we both know that I would destroy you.
Okay.
Okay. And because you know that, you just wouldn't even try.
Right.
Okay, that's the point.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Because we know that we can't ever use that.
Yeah.
Texas isn't going to be scared. Just like when I said you'd never try.
Yeah.
In the back of your mind, you was like, I'll lay you down, old man.
I'll slam you up good.
And that's the point.
I might lose, but I'll slam you up good. You have to remember me for sure.
But that's the point. So, wow, that went off the rails in a hurry. But anyway, so I'm looking at what I call the Great Awakening because I think it's important.
Okay.
And nowhere is that more evident than with the children that you work with. And I should say the young adults, because they have a different mindset when they look at the world.
Absolutely.
And they are grabbing it and they're shaking it up. They're using AI to become smarter. I mean, they really understand the world they live in. Now, you think about when you were growing up and you were And as a teenager,
Right.
how much did you really understand the world? I mean, really compared to now. So talk about those kids and how their worldview is so much different, and people shouldn't be worried about the future because there's a lot of great things to come.
Yeah, that's actually a great a point. I would say this generation right now is not only equipped with answers, they're equipped with solutions. And it's
Yep.
rare that we have both. I noticed that in a lot of different generations, they either had the answers or the solutions. But if you don't have both, then it doesn't work out well. And I think one thing that's really unique about this generation is they have the ability to train in real time 3 to 5 times faster than we could. So with virtual reality, augmented reality, and different things that we're kind of afraid of, they're already using. I think about in Japan right now, it's a requirement to learn AI by the 3rd grade. Right. In America right now, we are exposed to AI in real time. So I think we got to go beyond exposure and continue these things that are advancing us. And so I love that you said that. But one thing I want to point out about our Emoja kids specifically is that every graduation around the district, we had an Emoja student speak at graduation.
Is that not amazing?
So it just goes to show kind of that leadership ability that these kids have always had, but also sometimes when you rein those things in and you give them a platform, they can do awesome and amazing things. And so one of the kids, they gave a speech, and one of the things they talked about is, even if I don't see any of you guys all again in 10 years, the one thing I want you to hold on to is hope. Because
Right.
when I go to school and, some of y'all don't, that's where things start to separate. And so I think that hope for the next generation is super important because they are literally our future. But I think we also have to prepare them and set them up for a good future. So we can't leave them in triple times the debt. We can't lead them in triple times the trauma. We can't lead them in triple times the grocery prices and such. So I think we got to lead them off well, right? We can't necessarily blame the next generation and say, oh, they're always on their phones and their tablets. Well, we were working, right? Like our parents' parents were working, right? We are just starting to learn what it means to build a relationship with a parent and a child, right? Because a lot of people were taught, like, I'm not your friend, right? Like, I'm your parent. And then you don't build these relationships and these bonds. And I got a lot of people that I know right now who see the kids that I work with and go, wow, like, I feel so much more comfortable with my future. I still feel so much more comfortable with the children that are coming. And especially in the Fargo area, I would say, like, a lot of these kids are touching on cybersecurity right now. They're touching on what it means to be a nurse or go to Bismarck and do the nursing summer classes right now. I got a kid right now who just went to the Olympic Open, like secretly, right? Like, I can't say who it was, but they went to an Olympic Open training, like a training for Olympic opening. Like, they're already training for the next Olympic. And so it's like people are being exposed to these different opportunities in real time from the Fargo area.
And so one of the things that I always caution myself about, because I'm working with these kids, is not to put my old biases on the new generation.
Tell me more.
You know, like you talk about, one of the things is I say, you have to call me Mr. Adams. You just have to, because that's respect. But at the same time, I have to remind myself, tell them why it's important. Not just tell them, hey, I'm Mr. Adams.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids are like, that just doesn't make sense. You're the only person. But I had to explain to them that it's just a matter of respect. That's why I call you ladies and gentlemen, sir and ma'am, because it means something, okay? But and I say this, if we get out of their way, this generation, they're doing great things. We just have to sit back. And, like I said, not put those old biases out there like children are seen and not heard.
Yeah.
You can't even try that nowadays with these kids because they'll let you know, oh, I need to be heard. And the third part is the communication. I hear a lot of people say, well, I would never speak to a kid in public if they weren't doing what they need to do. And the funny thing is, that's exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But the key is, how about you do it respectfully?
Absolutely.
And I think that's a lot. Go ahead.
I'd appreciate that sentiment because I think there's this level of mature gatekeeping. When adults or professionals don't see you as mature enough, they will gatekeep opportunities from you. And one of the great things that I love is that I have such a crazy dynamic story. I had a 1.5 GPA, and I'm about to finish doctoral school next year before I'm 30 years old.
Wow.
And so I'm not speaking from a matter of like guessing or circumstance. I'm speaking from a matter of experience as a Bush Fellow 2024. And so I can speak to kids directly and say, like, I have lost a lot of my friends. I have seen the other side of drug abuse. I have seen the other side of not taking care of yourself.
Right.
And so a lot of times I think kids get opportunities when they're working around or with me or with my team or with Janelle and all these other people that I work around and work with. And those opportunities don't come lightly, right? Those opportunities don't just show up sleepy to those things. They're very excited. They work, they prepare. But a lot of times when you talk to kids, they'll talk about how many opportunities have been taken away from them because they didn't reach a certain threshold, because they didn't say sir or ma'am, right? I grew up with a Marine as a father. That wasn't an option, right? So my grandfather was in the Army. My great-grandfather was, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's a little different because of the dynamic of how I was raised. Whereas a lot of people I'm understanding now, like, they weren't raised like me. Like, I couldn't even imagine somebody looking even 5 years older than me and not saying sir, ma'am. And even when people get mad about it, it is what it is. And so what I would say is we got to stop gatekeeping opportunities for kids, right? Like, I think about how many kids should be learning right now how to golf. How many kids should be learning right now how to do some landscaping? How many kids should be learning right now how to wash windows, right? Like, these are things that they're going to need when they got home ownership. A lot of kids don't know how to cook, right? Like, they're not getting these opportunities to do things.
That well said, sir. You guys, we got to go to break here. Big Game James says we got to pay the bills. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Dr. Fred. It's not doctor yet, is it?
No, it's not.
We're coming. Anyway, we're going to come back with Fred Edwards Jr. This is Jon Adams for Talk of the Town. If you want to call in, the phone number is 701-293-9000. Hey, welcome back to Talking to Tom with Jon Adams. I'm here with Fred Edwards Jr., the founder of Fred's Dissidents and Emoja. So last year, something fantastic. It's been almost a year since you received your Bush Fellowship.
Yes.
How's that going?
Ooh,
First of all, describe what the Bush Fellowship is for people that don't know, and then describe the work that you're doing as it pertains to the Bush Fellowship.
Absolutely. First, I want to say I'm the co-executive director of Emoja Inc. So there is another pillar to this, which is Janelle Gibson. So we co-conspiratorize this amazing program. But as a Bush Fellow, as a 2024 Bush Fellow, there were about 3,000 people who applied. 24 people got it last year. I'm one of the first people to get it from Fargo in a while. I think it's been like 5 years or 4 years since somebody from Fargo has gotten a Bush Fellowship. So it's a big deal. It's essentially a significant gift of finances for you to become the best leader that you can. And so you write this imaginative story, complexing story about, oh man, I wish that I could pursue a doctorate degree because I couldn't afford a doctorate degree while working and having a child, et cetera. And so I was like, man, I wish I could do some wellness practices and learn about different things like yoga, breathwork meditation, going into sauna, infrared saunas, and cold plunging, and all of these different things, right? And I wrote about just getting rest for the last, I think I've been working since I was 11 years old. And, you know, most people on the call are going to be like, he doesn't know anything about work. But I have a track record of success, been doing a lot of things for a small amount of time in both Fargo and in Minneapolis. And so I talked about just getting some rest and having time with my wife and my child. And so over the last year, I've been able to go to Amsterdam. I've went to Rwanda, went to Uganda, been able to go to the Congo Republic, along with traveling to just various places around the Americas, around the United States. And so doing a lot of travel. Then I go to school in Nashville full time. So taking 9-hour classes, one Saturday a month, every month. I just came back from a dissertation boot camp out in Nashville. So that was from Thursday to Saturday, 9-hour classes. Then flew back to be at the Fargo Dome, to be at graduation for Fargo North, Fargo South, Davies for 9 hours. And I think, you know, just planning Juneteenth, we got about 3 of them underway. So for the Bush Fellowship, I am grateful. I am blessed. I am also thankful for my wife for just giving me the patience and grace and sacrificing a lot for me to be able to get this doctorate degree. But once I get it, I think some really amazing things will happen.
Some amazing things are already happening.
Absolutely.
It's just
without
it's
a
a
doubt.
continuation. You know, I look at you. It's it's funny because when I met Fred, I don't even remember how we met, but I just know that his resume was long and distinguished. And I was like, this cat is just a baby.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, you know, when I met you, you were dreaded out. You know, I got the bio before I got to meet the man.
Yep.
Okay. So you and I had a discussion. I was like, you're nothing like I thought you would look. Right.
I get that a lot.
And it's funny because you weren't bothered by it, you know, but we had a discussion as an old guy and a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that started the dialogue because we went at it pretty strong. I mean, for the very first time, we went at it pretty strong. I remember the next day you called me and said, hey, I hope you didn't take anything from it. I was like, I was invigorated by you.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to hitch my wagon to this dude. He's going places simply because you energize everybody around you. And I think that's one of the things that it jumps out on the page. It jumps out with you in person. So kudos to you. And it ain't easy.
Yeah. What I would have to say is, you know, there's this idea of one voice of the collective many, right? And so, as you know, being from Minnesota, being from Minneapolis, having that woo personality is not fall like a short of a Minneapolis person. And so I would attribute that to the North Side. I would also attribute that to Minneapolis. But then also the energy is like, I'm the last of 10 kids, right? Wow. So I've always, you better come with some energy. Otherwise you ain't gonna get what you need.
You have to.
I always thank the neo-griots, which is like my mom. You know, my mom's nickname is Shorty Rough. You know, she getting where she needs to go is essentially one thing I learned from her. And then my father, Apostle Fred Edwards.
I want to stop you. First of all, I want you to speak to your mom and dad right now because we didn't do it last time.
Absolutely.
Tell your parents something.
My parents, what I would say to Marilyn and Fred Sr. is thank you. Thank you for allowing me time and flexibility to be creative and letting me mess up. I could think out of all the kids, I probably am the least stressful now. But when I was younger, I don't know. I probably was one of the most stressful kids. almost getting kicked out of private school, getting kicked off the school bus for the rest of the school year. My first day at kindergarten, saying "fuck 2-bit" to the teacher, and they said, "What does that mean?" You do the math, right? And so it's just like I've been a rough child for a long time, and so it's really cool to make a 360, make a 180 or whatever you would call it, and be able to help kids who are in similar situations like I was.
Okay, so we're gonna get this out of the way because I forgot last time. I always say that my wife is my person.
Yeah.
Okay. And you never know how significant having that one person can be because, dude, everything you see I am is because of her.
Absolutely.
Speak to your wife.
Yeah, Sid. Yeah, Sid is my backbone, but more importantly, she's the peace of mind, right? I had somebody ask me this a long time ago when I was working for a nonprofit and hustling and bustling and just kind of almost burnt out. They asked, how much does a peace of mind cost? And I said, like, Sid is my peace of mind, right? Like, Sid is that person who, through all of the events, like we started planning in October. So she was planning with me, right? We started planning in October. And for most people, they're burnt out right now. Like my team is like pretty tired right now, but they've done an amazing job, right? Like there's like 9 people on a team. They're leading things, doing graphics, like designing things, recruiting people. But Sid is with me through all of that. Before they are even a team, I cultivate a team. Like before they're even a thought or a theme or any of the visions for the different June teams, like she is that backbone. But beyond that, I think she is so non-confrontational, non-stressful. So like that's my favorite travel buddy. We went to Amsterdam, no kid. I was like a real vacation, no kid. I just want to say
dating
that.
again, huh?
Oh my goodness,
Get
it
to
was
hold
like
hands
it was like we was in high school, right? Because we didn't know each other since middle school. Like that's my real like. That is my person, and it's really fun because she's a North Sider. I just want to say that she is from the North Side, so that matters. And I think it's just really cool that the love that she has for my child radiates in my kid. And so it's one thing to see like your partner feel confident, but it's another thing to see your kid walk into the room like, I own this space, like I am here, like welcome y'all, I have arrived. And so just the attitude, confidence that my wife comes with embodies that through my kid as well. So just definitely blessed to have her in my life for sure.
Thank you. Thank you
for
for those
sure,
words.
as my folks on here are going to say, what did he say?
I wanted to get that because a lot of times we go through these shows and sometimes we forget to thank the people that help get to where we be in a heartfelt way. So
Absolutely.
I wanted you to be able to say that because now it's on film.
There you go.
Because they can go back and look at it. Say something to your son. He don't know yet, but tell him something.
Yeah, I got a daughter. Her name is Eremias.
Oh my goodness.
I got one child, and her name is Eremias. But Eremias Simone Edwards, her name means sent by God to be heard by many. That's the translation in Aramaic. That's the original language of the. We don't gotta go through that. But I think one thing about Eremias that everybody knows about me is that wherever I am, like they are gonna be. Like if I'm on stage, my daughter will walk on stage.
Right.
If I'm studying for my doctorate program, my daughter flipping through the books with me. And so it's like one of those things where she's along for the ride, but she's also creating her own world, right? Like she goes to a music school. She's doing like drumming and piano and like she's working with other kids, learning how to like do stage presence. And she's already recruiting people. Like,
how old is she?
She's 4 going 45.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. So it's been a blessing to have Eremias for sure.
It's something to have kids. And my apologies, young lady. I didn't do all my homework. For some reason, I thought you had a son.
You know, I just have that energy. I got son energy apparently. So, Sid, if you seeing this.
So with this Bush Fellowship, so you've traveled, you've done all these different things.
Yes, sir.
What is your overall hope to come out of it when you're all finished with the fellowship?
My overall hope, I think I have a few plans. So one of the big things for me is to really change.
Hang on one second. Big Game James just put it in my ear that we have to go to break. When we come back, I want to hear about that as well as Juneteenth. Excuse me. Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams on WDAY Radio. I'm here with Mr. Fred Edwards Jr. Before we go into Juneteenth, which I got to tell you, I went for the first time in a long time last year, and we had a good time sitting out. What is the black coffee?
Black coffee and waffle. Yep.
Yeah, man, that was that.
Shout out to Black Coffee and Waffle.
First, I want to apologize to Mr. Janelle Gibson because I made Fred the sole purveyor of Fred's dissidents as well as Umoja, and that's not the case. Sorry, sir. I'll do better next time. So that's only two mistakes I've made other than giving Fred a son he didn't know he had. Well, those things will happen on Talking with Jon Adams. But before you get started with Juneteenth, I want to say this. In Fargo, there are events that you go to where you sit back and you go, I would have never imagined that this would happen in this place like this, okay? And a lot of it takes place in the schools, okay? At sporting events, anything that involves young people. And so last year, myself and Judge Jonathan Judd, we went down to the Juneteenth celebration. And we were there for 4 hours. I had planned on being there. My deal is y'all have to know that typically I give my hour of time, pay homage to the people that do what they do, and then I'm out. I got other stuff to do, probably go golf or whatever. But I got there and I couldn't leave. I had any number of different African foods, great coffee and waffles, some black coffee and waffles, and then I sat there with, at the time, no, he wasn't the mayor, with Jonathan Judd, and just looked out. And being on the periphery of seeing things and seeing the number of Europeans that were celebrating with us, and I'm not talking about walking along the edge. I'm talking about being involved in our Juneteenth celebration. And I said, this is what I see Fargo. This is what it's supposed to be. We're not anybody to be feared. We invite everybody to the cookout, regardless of what you think, as long as you act appropriately. Let's throw that in there. But we're not built not to have fun, not to enjoy ourselves. So I'm going to say now, if you haven't, come on out to Juneteenth because it is going to be a celebration. I'm glad that it's back in Moorhead as well as Jamestown. But we have Fred Edwards Jr. and his team to thank for that. So let's talk about Juneteenth.
Yeah. So we have 3 events this year. We have an event tomorrow, actually, in Jamestown, North Dakota. So we have one at the Hanson Arts Center. That one is going to be amazing. It's a family reunion style. Last year we had a small, intimate crowd, and we wanted to continue that theme. And so Heather McDougal, Jerome, Cole, and a lot of other folks out there are really trying to cultivate this idea of how do we teach people about history but also feed them. And so my wife offered to make baked mac and cheese. And if you know, our recipe for baked mac and cheese is something crazy and vicious. It's dangerous. John might even have to drive all the way to Jamestown just to experience it. And my cornbread, John has had some of Fred's cornbread, so he knows that's pretty good.
Cornbread's on point, folks.
Smothered chicken and fried chicken, and then some folks out there are actually making jollof rice, cassava gravy, and we're giving this to the community just to break bread with the community, teach them about Arabelle Thompson, who was from North Dakota. She's the black woman from Bismarck, North Dakota, who created Ebony, or was a part of Ebony magazine. We're talking about Satchel Paige. One of the first integrated baseball teams was in the Jamestown area because of the trains. Bismarck, the Monarchs, right? Satchel Paige. We're talking about Ormington, which is a barber who was out in Jamestown. And so we've always been here, but it depends on who you're asking the history about. And so we're doing that out in Jamestown, and then we're having a show right outside. And so it'll be from 5:30 to 6:30. You can eat for free inside. Then you can go outside and eat even more food. We got food vendors. We got stuff for the kids. We got arts and crafts, instrument making, you name it, we got it. Then fast forward to the next week, we got the Moorhead Juneteenth celebration on Juneteenth. That'll be at Concordia College. I want to give a huge shout out to Mayor Shelley over in Moorhead. They really made it happen, really talk with Concordia, talk with MSUM, talk with whoever they needed to talk with the Moorhead Public Service, and was like, how can we cultivate and make sure that we continue the celebration? And so this will be our 4th annual Juneteenth in Moorhead, and that one is going to be insane. This one is geared towards the kids and families. So this event, we have a clean comedian. His name is Juice Sutton. He's actually the host for the Minnesota Lynx, the host for the Minnesota Twins. He's got a comedy special coming out on Amazon Prime pretty soon here. We got Mayor Shelley doing a proclamation. We got panels with Rachel Stone and Jared Pigeon. We got obstacle courses. We got bouncy houses. We got food galore, pick a bob grill, you name it. Like it's a big deal. It's a great event, and it's gonna be a good time. And it's free and open to the public.
We like free.
Yes.
But more than that, I don't know where to go with this because it was so much information. I was going to tell you to slow down because you got me overloaded. But, you know, first of all.
And we haven't even got to Fargo yet. So
no, we haven't gotten to Fargo. So what was the name of the guy? And he does the Timberwolves.
So Juice Sutton, his name is Juice Sutton. You can Google him. You can look him up. He is the clean comedian. So his father and my father are actually best friends. His father passed recently, and my father had a stroke. They pastored together. Okay. And so he was a clean comedian in church, and so he actually got that to the big stage, and he's been on Netflix and different things like that. And it's rare that you get a comedian that is clean and also like family friendly, right? And so he'll be our comedy that awesome. Night. Yes, indeed.
Wow. Talk about Fargo.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I just want to give a huge shout out to a couple of different agencies, organizations who not only brought us under their wing, but they just made sure that we cultivated. So shout out to Eric Hatch with the Hatch Leadership. That was really good. Shout out to Folkways and just helping out with event structure, logistics, and stuff like that. Shout out to Emergent Prairie. Just seeing TEDx Fargo gave us the push or the imagination to be like, we can make this even bigger and bigger and bigger. So I want to give a shout out to those folks because you don't just make this stuff up in your brain. Like sometimes you get inspired by people, and those are some of the people that I'm for sure inspired by. And so for Fargo, we've never had a cultural event this large, this capacity, that wasn't so many different dynamic cultivations, where this is cultivated primarily by people from Fargo. And this event will have a huge show. So we have a headliner, Nerdy. He's our headliner. He is a great performer out in Minnesota. He's performed at the Opry Theater. He's performed with the orchestra behind him. Like, the dude is dope, amazing. We have Ryan from High Ally. High Ally is a local band in the Fargo-Moorhead area that I would say should win a Grammy one day. Like, they are phenomenal. We have Shotty the Beam, just this amazing kid who just dropped the album. We have so many talents, poetry, singing, dancing, and it's hosted by Juice. So it's not only, we're not even just getting a comedy, it's getting hosted by Juice. We have a stamp station that was created by Sydney Ulrich with Sid Cool Arts, where you can literally go around learning about different parts of Juneteenth and stamping different things. We also have Black History illustrations, and so we have these huge, as you can probably see this poster, these are just a few, but we have these huge 6-foot, this one is for you anyways. We have these huge 6-foot tall art illustrations. We have a bubble lady, who does bubble art, face painting, character artists. We have a block party happening at the event. The event is at the Broadway Square. Black Coffee and Waffle is opening up their space to us for 3 hours. So from 12 to 3, you can hear from an oncologist from Sanford Hospital, ask him any questions about cancer. You can hear from a financial literacist who is only 24 years old, who just got a store inside the West Acres Mall. Shout out to Martin. You can hear from Habiba, who literally makes mango shea butter and will give you samples for free and will teach you how to make your own moisturized cream and butter. We also have Kristen, who will be talking about textured hair. So if you are somebody who's adopted a kid with textured hair, she will teach you the basics. And so all of these things are happening for free at the Black Coffee and Waffle from 12 to 3. And then from 3 to 8, we're having a block party, festival, all the things. And so one of my favorite things that my kid loves is the bouncy houses, the basketball games, the face painting. She's like, Dad, make sure they got candy. And I'm like, so I got sugar-free candy. I got those veggie straws this year. Yeah, I got those in the bag because they were saying that the food wasn't super healthy last year. And kids under 12 eat free. So all kids under 12 eat free at this event. And we have all the food vendors that you can think of. Bomb Dog. We got Soul Taco going to be there. We got T's Tacos. We got Now River. We got a lot of different food options for you. So just be on the lookout. It's going to be a good time, a great time. We got the best shirts ever made. Shout out to Shirts from Fargo and shout out to Bees Tees. They made some really cool shirts, both of those. So Yeah, and John might be selling shirts there too.
No, John won't be selling shirts, but I'm pretty sure this Stay Black shirt is the best shirt. But that's neither here nor there. Big Game James says we're up against the break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with Fred Edwards Jr. Remember, Juneteenth is next Thursday, but we do have Juneteenth in Jamestown this Saturday. What's the time?
We have it tomorrow. That's Thursday. It'll be from 5:30 to 8:30, and then we have it on next Thursday, which is the 19th, and that one will be from 5 to 8, and then we have the Saturday one that'll be pretty big. That'll be our large one. That'll be from 12 to 3 for the educational series and 3 to 8 for the community block party.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on the other end of the break.
Seven 7.
Oh, damn. Why didn't they just send you to... Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. I'm sitting here with Fred Edwards Jr. at some point to be Dr. Fred. I can't wait. If there's a graduation, I hope I can go check it out.
May 2027. Be there.
Oh, see, I opened my mouth too wide. I might have a golf out in there. Dude, it has been a pleasure having you on this show. You're doing so much in the community, and these are the things that I say make Fargo great. You know? And the number one thing that I think, and the reason that I'm still on the radio, is because I want to provide exposure. Okay? For people that may not have ever heard your story.
Right.
That maybe don't know who you are. You know, people have to recognize that there are a lot of people in this community doing great things, but you don't always hear their names, or if you hear their names, you hear it in passing. You know? Well, I'm hoping that this show, as well as all the other shows I've done, exposes people to more, and particularly in my community, okay, in the immigrant community, because we can look at the news and we can see everything that's going on, but we know what's in our hearts, and don't let your eyes deceive you, okay? What you see on TV, those aren't rioters, those are protesters. And I'm going to tell you this much, because the rant's coming. For everybody who says what's happening today shouldn't be happening, I'll tell you what, people fled England and came to this country because of what was happening in England. And they tried rioting, and then they just left. But I'm glad that there are people out there that are fighting for other people, okay? If you're one of those people that says, hey, this is just rioters and blah, 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 if you're in the June, if you didn't protest on January 6th, okay, if you didn't have anything to say about what went on January 6th, or you thought those people were right for doing what they did, I need you to sit down. I need you to go away, because if you didn't have any problem with January 6th, you certainly shouldn't have any problem with people protesting. This nation was built on protest. In the 60s, we moved forward because of protests. Women wouldn't have what they have if they didn't protest, okay? So let's not be so strong on this, hey, they're rioters, they're this and that. Now, the National Guard and that whole thing, that's another story for another day, but I can tell you this, since when are states not able to handle what they need to handle? Even our police force here has SWAT and tactical gear for if we did have a riot. Pay attention, open your eyes, okay? Let's not be foolish and think that this is a great thing, having the military on the streets in the United States against citizens. Let's pay attention and be mindful. Mr. Fred, I'm sorry, but I had to get that was supposed to be part of the first part of the show, but I feel some type of way about it, because you know what? I've heard people say snide things. I've heard people, talk negatively about somebody who's looking out for somebody else. Now I understand that there are illegals here, okay? But those people are human beings, okay? Now you got to remember, when your ancestors came here, you were illegals, okay? So let's not be so pious and high in the sky about looking at people who came here legally, looking for a better life, which, by the way, I think that's what the Pilgrims did. But now, because we're so far removed from that, when other people do it, it seems like we have a problem. Well, for me, I'm here to tell you, man, these are people that you see every day. A lot of the people that are out there in the streets are also picking your vegetables, okay? They're also the people that are building your houses. These are the people that keep America going. And if you don't believe me, go look at Nebraska. Look what's happening down there, okay? Look at some of your feeds. Some of your very own people said, I can't believe that I'm going to lose my livelihood because these people are being deported. That's the real truth of it. Okay, there are human beings behind what's going on. And when you get so callous that you don't see that there are human beings behind every dollar, behind every Doge cut, if you can sit here and be just totally non-sympathetic to the fact that there are lives that are being affected only because it hasn't touched you yet. And I said it a few shows ago, the only reason that I'm not more upset is because I won't take a big hit, okay? As long as they don't touch my retirement plan or they don't touch Social Security, I'm not really affected by what happens in the government. But when I see my sons, I know that they're going to be directly affected. And I don't know if I could say it on the radio, but I'm pissed off by it. Because everybody's acting like this isn't a dire situation. It is. It is. And if you are one of the have-nots, how do you get to the have? At every turn when you're being thwarted. As a small businessman, I can tell you this year has been a struggle, even though we've been really busy. So that's my rant for this week. Dr. Fred, I'm excited that you're doing the Juneteenth. I didn't want to put a damper on it, but thank you for being on my show. You're welcome back here anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
To the Umoja crew. So one of the things that I got to do is I got to see Umoja in action. Umoja, I'm saying it the way I say it. Everybody calm down. These these young people were eager to go to the emoji class, okay? And as soon as you or Mr. Gibson hit the door, these kids were up and they were moving, and they were positive and they were excited about it. These are the programs that change lives, okay? These are the things that we need more of in our schools and in our community. But we also need people to get involved, because Fred and Mr. Gibson are only one person. So if you really want to see Fargo remain a good place, remain a great place to live, where you can have something, where you can build something, where you can say, I'm proud to be from Fargo, we need to be more like Fred Edwards. You know, we need to be more in tune to what the community needs. That's all for now. This is Jon Adams. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on the show, Dr. I'm going to call you Dr. Edwards anyway.
See y'all Thursday.
This is Jon Adams. We're talking to town. Juneteenth, tomorrow, Jamestown. If it rains, you guys will see me there. Have a great week, and as always, stay black.
All right. Peace, peace, peace.